Hello fellow book lovers, my name is Giselle and welcome to the Adventures of Giz. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite reads of the year, and some of these are amazing. It's not really a countdown, but you'll see towards the end I will name my top ones because I couldn't choose one, so I have top three, I think. First up, we have a reread or a re-listen because I re-listened to the audiobooks of Harry Potter. I re-listened to the whole series, and I think by far my favorite audiobook and book is still Prisoner of Azkaban, which is of course an amazing book anyway. If you haven't read the books and you struggle to read books, maybe try the Stephen Fry audiobooks because they are amazing and he is a great narrator. Next up, I reread the first two books in one of my favorite series, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. So I reread these first two books almost exactly 1 year after I read them for the first time, and they are still some of my favorite books of all time because they are just amazing. So Feyre is a human and she lives south of the wall that separates humans and Fae. And what happens is Feyre does something and she has to move into one of the Fae courts as retribution for what she did. These are some of the best books I've ever read, and if you haven't read them and you like fantasy and you like magic and you like just being happy, read these. They're amazing. The next book is actually the second book in a series, and I love the first and the second one, but I don't have the first one on my bookshelf. And that is Hunting Prince Dracula by Kerry Maniscalco. I read Stalking Jack the Ripper. It was at the beginning of the year. It was actually the first book I read and it was absolutely amazing. And Hunting Prince Dracula was even better. I never thought that could happen because I loved Stalking Jack the Ripper, but Hunting Prince Dracula just got better and I'm completely obsessed with the series. In the series, we follow a girl called Audrey Rose. In the first book, Audrey Rose studies under her uncle, who is basically a forensic scientist, and Audrey is also determined to study in this field. Now, the problem is this is set in 1880s London, which means a woman working as a forensic scientist is unheard of and very much frowned upon. So we have this really awesome character of Audrey Rose as she kind of pushes to do what she loves, and I absolutely love that about her. Now, the second book I read this year was also a really good one, which is why it is here too, and that is Caravel by Stephanie Garber. This book follows a girl called Scarlett as she goes on basically an adventure to find her sister Tella. And this just is amazing because we have this carnival which has, it's not exactly magic, it's more tricks, and it is kind of magic though. It's amazing, it's awesome. And the carnival itself is called Caravel, and we have some amazing characters and amazing plot things happening in this book. So if you like magic and that carnival, festival, dark magic vibe, then definitely give Caravel a read. Next up, we have the first V.E. Schwab book I've ever read, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic. I absolutely love the main character, Cal. Cal has a special brand of magic, and his magic allows him to travel between worlds. So there is Red London, Grey London, White London, and the infamous Black London. Now, Cal travels easily between Red, Grey and White London, and he works for the King of Red London. He is kind of the messenger between the courts of the different London worlds. And this is just absolutely amazing. I can understand why everybody loves it so much, but it's really good. Love Cal. Love Lila Bard, although I struggled to like her at the beginning of this book because I was not happy with her, which is okay. I don't have to love all the characters, but towards the end I really did love her as well, and it was a really, really fun read. The next book is part of a duology, my favorite duology, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now, Crooked Kingdom took me forever to read because I was in a major reading slump for like 2 months. I think it was in March and April. The first book in the duology is called Six of Crows, and it is amazing. We follow a group of people who, I love them so much. We follow a group of people who are mostly all criminals, and basically what they do is their leader, Kaz Breaker, plans to break into an impenetrable court, and it is insane. The first book was amazing and the second book was just as amazing. I was so sad when it ended because I love these characters so much and I really want to see them again. Next up we have the first book in a new Leigh Bardugo duology, and that is King of Scars. This book ruined me. It properly ruined me. I am still traumatized by this. We follow the main character, Nikolai, and he was one of my favorite characters in the Shadow and Bone series, and I'm so happy he got his own duology. He was just amazing, and I absolutely adored the parts that had to do with him and just Nikolai. I love him so much. Anyway, the other character we follow is Zoya, and that was interesting because I actually really did not like her for most of Shadow and Bone. I think there was a little part where I was like, oh, she's an okay person. But in this, towards the end, I actually started feeling like, okay, maybe Zoya could be a good person, maybe very, very deep down. We also see Nina doing some things in here, and Nina is from Crooked Kingdom. So the thing with the series that Leigh Bardugo has written is that the Grishaverse kind of does need to be read in order for everything to make sense. King of Scars is her newest release in the Grishaverse, and I don't know how I felt about this. I give it a 5-star. It was a great book, but at the same time it made me so angry. Wow, that ending made me so angry. I need the next book so that I can just calm down because wow, I have never sworn so much out loud while screaming at a book. It was intense. It was an intense day when I finished this. The next 2 books are the first 2 books in a trilogy, and that is Truly Devious and The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. Now this series is amazing, and it is a YA mystery series, and Truly Devious was great. I only gave it a 4.5 stars, but The Vanishing Stair was absolutely brilliant. It got a 5-star immediately. I was like, this is amazing. Because it is a trilogy, there is one major plot line going throughout the trilogy, and obviously the last book in the series is going to deal with the major mystery, and each book has its own mini mysteries within them, and that is what actually just makes it so fun and amazing. We follow the main girl, Stevie Bell, as she goes to Ellingham Academy, which is the place of one of the biggest cold cases in America. Obviously this is all fictional, but it is amazing, and Maureen Johnson has done a fantastic job at writing a great mystery. Next up we have a fantastic book, which is the first book also in a trilogy, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Now Renegades is fantastic. We're in this world of superpowers where there are basically renegades are the superheroes, and then we have the villains, and this is just a fantastic book. We follow the main girl Nova, and she actually has allegiances to the villains but kind of goes undercover into the renegades, into these superheroes, and we basically see that the line between good and evil is very, very grey because everybody is doing something wrong, everybody is doing something right. So it's just amazing. I have arch enemies and I cannot wait to read it, and then I will get Supernova as soon as I can because I need to finish this series as soon as possible. This is just fantastic. It was great. I loved Nova so much. She is an amazing character, and just so many interesting and amazing things happen in this book. Next up, we have two books in one of my favorite series of all time, which I mentioned earlier, and that is it's the Throne of Glass series. So I read Empire of Storms. It took me months to read this until I had like this overwhelming urge to pick up Tower of Dawn, and I read it within 3 days, which is insane because this book is massive. These books are number 5 and 6 in the Throne of Glass series, and it is, like I said, one of my favorite series of all time. I've been reading it for years. I actually started, I think, in 2013. Sarah J. Maas is one of my favorite authors of all time. She's amazing. I absolutely adore her. If you don't know anything about the series, we follow a female, awesome, badass assassin, and she is so cool. And in the first book, she is chosen to participate in a championship in order to become the king's assassin. Now, this series, it's this long for a reason, because Sarah J. Maas throws all the plot twists at us, which means it's amazing. You have to read it if you just like strong women and amazing characters and witches and magic, and I can't even tell you what happens in these books because they are just so amazing. Read them. Next up, we have two books which I read a couple of months apart, but they're both part of a series, and the first one is The Wicked King and the second one is The Queen of Nothing. The Wicked King ruined me. The Queen of Nothing was amazing. I finished The Cruel Prince, which is the first book in the series, exactly on the 31st of December last year, and I absolutely adored it, loved it, immediately got The Wicked King when it came out, and then got Queen of Nothing as soon as it came out. They are both such amazing books. If you don't know anything about it, in Cruel Prince, we follow the main character, Jude, as she navigates growing up in this world of fairyland. Now, they are cruel and horrible, and Jude just has to also become cruel and horrible in order to live with these fairies. These are some amazing books. There's a lot of political intrigue. We have amazing characters, some of the best characters I think Holly Black's ever written. And this is just a brilliant fast read series. So if you need something fairy and magic, read these books, because the ending of Wicked King, like I said, it ruined me. I was finished. Wow. A lot of good books this year, clearly. Now, the last 3 books on my list are my top 3 favorites. These weren't really in an order at all because I couldn't put them in an order because I loved all of them equally. But these 3 books really stood out to me this year. I can't say which one is number 1, 2, and 3 because they were all number 1 to me. So the first out of the 3 is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This book was absolutely amazing. I adored it. We follow a girl called Harper as she is accidentally transported to this alternate fantasy world of Emberfall. It is hilarious because we just see this modern day girl like any of us falling into a fantasy kingdom, and it is so funny because she just reacts so realistically. Harper's sense of humor is brilliant. We also have a very interesting Prince Ren. He is a little bit broody, obviously our favorite kinds of characters. He's very broody and just does make this quite a good book. This is the Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it is one of the most unique story concepts and one of the most unique just ideas I've ever seen in a book. It is brilliant, it is funny, it is dramatic. Oh my god, that ending was insane. This was just a brilliant book, which is why it is right at the top of my favorites list for the year. Next up, we have Sorceress of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Now, Sorceress of Thorns is a standalone, which was actually very different for me because I love reading series, and having a standalone was just so different to what I was used to. In Sorceress of Thorns, the main character Elizabeth grew up in a library where the librarians basically protected the world from the books. So these books are grimoires, and they're magic, which means that they can become violent, go on rampages, and just kill like towns and hundreds of people. So basically all the librarians are there to keep the books inside. Elizabeth is an amazing character. The other main character, Nathaniel, is also an amazing character. Absolutely, I loved him. But by far, my favorite character is Silas, okay? You need to read this book in order to just understand how amazing these characters are and how amazing Silas is. He's a demon who is bound to Nathaniel. I'm so in love with this book so much. And the cover is beautiful, the writing is beautiful, the characters are amazing, the plotline is amazing. And the last sentence of this book made me so happy. I have never ever read a standalone with such amazing world building, and just everything about this was fantastic, which is why it is one of my favorite books of the year. And last, we have the one and only Nevernight by J. Kristoff. Now, it took me forever to read this, just because the format of the book is not the easiest read, because we have footnotes which kind of take you out of the action as you're going. In this we follow Mia. She is darken, which means that she basically wields shadows. That's her form of magic, is basically shadow magic. She goes to this assassin school where they worship Naya, which is the goddess of the night or darkness or whatever. This was a fantastic book. Like I said, it was a really slow read just because of the footnotes. A lot of the world building is done in the footnotes as well, so it was a really interesting format. He is a brilliant writer, he's very funny as well, and there is so much about this book which I absolutely adored. Love the characters, and I cannot wait to carry on reading the series. So there we have my favorite reads of 2019. If you read some of these and you loved them as much as I did, let me know down in the comments below. This year was just an amazing year for good reading. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and have a good day.